Hi guys, my name is Dmytro Trifonov and here is my presentation for the Google Summer of Code 2015 and my project OpenMRS 2.x SDK. OpenMRS SDK is a tool which helps a developer to create a model and run it in OpenMRS in a few minutes. So now let's go to the GitHub repository for this project and let's see which tasks I have already implemented. So here is the repository for this project. SDK is basically a Maven plugin which helps user to execute commands which will help him to develop OpenMRS models. Here is a list of models which is already implemented, and now I show you how this work. So first let's clone the repository to our computer. So let's make git clone. As you see, it's successfully cloned, and there are our Maven plugin. So now let's install this plugin to our computer, to the Maven local repository. For this we can use mvn clean install. And let's wait while this model or plugin will be installed to our computer, and after that we can use it. So as we see, the plugin is successfully installed, and now let's see how each task working. So first tasks are create model and create platform model. These tasks help user to create a basic model for OpenMRS. The difference between these tasks is that create model creates model for OpenMRS version 2 and create platform model create model for OpenMRS version 1. So now let's create a model for OpenMRS version 2 using our plugin. For this we will execute create model task. When we will execute this task, it will ask us for some properties for the model that we will create. The first is artifact ID. So now let's select the artifact ID for this model. Let it be the test model, and there are some other attributes that we must set. Some of them will be default. The model name will be also test model. We may add some description, the author, and model class prefix will be default. So we see that model is successfully created. We can see it, the test model that we just created, and now let's install it to the local Maven repository, and after that we can use this model. So for that we also make mvn clean install. But before that we must make a little fix in the model folder. We must change configuration. It's because there are some bug in the archetype from which we created this model. So now we fixed configuration, and now we can make mvn clean install to install this model. And now let's wait while it will be installed. It will take some time. So and now we see that we successfully installed the model, but now we need to configure some server to make test for this model and to install this model on a server. So for this we will use the setup task of our plugin. So now let's execute the setup task. The attributes for each task can be passed by as command line arguments, but now they asked in interactive mode. So the first value which we must set is server ID, or the name of the server. Let it will be server, and then we must pass the values for the database driver. We must set the default values, MySQL driver and default MySQL URL. MySQL user will be the root and password will be 123. So as we see that server is successfully installed. Now let's confirm it. All servers will be installed to the home user directory in the directory which called OpenMRS. So now let's check if there are any server in OpenMRS directory. Yes, as we see, there are server which will be created which called server. So now we can install model which we created before, which called test model, to the server which called server. For that we can use install model task of our plugin. It will require a server ID, so the server ID of the server which you want to install this model. The server ID will be server, and we see that the task is completed successfully. So now let's check if the model is really installed to the server. We will check the folder which called OpenMRS server models. The folder which called models is a folder where all models containing. So there must be model which called test model, and we see that there really the model which we just installed. And now let's check how uninstall model task works. Uninstall model task will uninstall model from selected server. So now let's execute it. We must set the server ID from where we will remove selected model. The server ID is server, and the artifact ID is the model artifact ID which we will remove. The model is test model. So we see that task executed successfully, and now let's check is it really removed from the models folder of the server. And yes, we see that there are no model which called a test model, so the model is uninstalled successfully. And now we can test the last task that I have already implemented is the run task. The run task run the configured server, and we can check how it works. So we must pass the server ID. This is a server, and let's see how it will be executed. Let's wait while the server will start. And we see that the Jetty plugin started our server. So now let's check how it works. Let's go to the localhost. The port is 8080 and the root is OpenMRS. And we see that the server is started successfully and it really works. So it's all tasks that I currently implemented. Here are the tasks which I have implemented and the task which I will implement in the second part of the Google Summer of Code. So I will also implement the help task and debug task and some other tasks which will be helpful for the users who want to use the SDK. And then we will release our Maven plugin, which will be available globally, and anyone can use this plugin and can work with this SDK. So thank you for watching this video. Good luck.